Hey there, welcome back to the Producer Joe Show. This is episode 124, I do believe, and I really appreciate you having you here. And if you don't mind subscribing on YouTube, that really helps a lot. We have a lot of great guests coming your way. Everyone from all walks of life, just never any politics. Well, on to today's guest. I know it's a little bit early. This is very different. It's early on my side of the world, anyways. That's because my guest is in Germany. So we just kind of split it right down the middle. What's early for him, or what's late for him, early for me. This is the incredible singer Taco from the 1980s, especially, but he hasn't stopped there. He's still going. The guy is just a machine. I'm going to bring him on right now. Let's all say hello to Taco. Hello there.
Ta-da!
Ta-da.
Thank you for inviting me to your show, Joe.
Absolutely. It's been a long time in the works. We'd planned it earlier this year and then life happened, whatever. But here we are today, and I'm really, really glad you're here. Thank you.
Good to be
So,
here.
how is everything on your side of the world, speaking of that?
Well, it's a gorgeous day. It's summer. The sun is shining, and I'm in one of the best phases of my life.
Oh, I like to hear that. Yeah, it's going to be scorching here. It's going to be 93 degrees, I do believe. And I think we're going to be staying inside today. But so tell me, where did taco come from? What are your origins? Um, tell me this.
Well,
Tell me the quick story here.
okay. Here's a quick rundown. I was born in Indonesia, Jakarta, which was at that time a Dutch colony, where my ancestors came from, and my my grandmother, she was one of the last ones who came from Holland and married my grandfather, and via the glove, as they call it. She was in Amsterdam and he was already in Indonesia, and then she took the ship over, and from that time on, we lived the colony life over there, and we were the last generation of Dutch over there, because we were all said to either stay and become Indonesian or leave the country, and if we wanted to stay Dutch. And then there was this mass exodus of Dutch people from Indonesia, and our family spread all over the world. Our family moved back to the Netherlands, and from there on, we moved to Singapore in 1964. From Singapore to the United States, Seattle, Washington, where some of my family still lives today. And then we went back to Germany, to Luxembourg, Belgium, where I graduated. And 74, we landed in Hamburg, Germany, where I've never left.
You mentioned that you did graduate in what 74? You said, but you
73, excuse me. Yeah.
73,
Yeah.
and then you had a class reunion, which you happened to make your way out my way to San Diego. Is that correct? At the Hotel Del. Um,
Yes, that was so cool. That was back in the early 2000s. And that was awesome.
man,
Gorgeous setting. We rented a whole space on the beach, and we had a barbecue there. And and I had a chance to see old colleagues again after for a couple of days. So it was a lot of fun. And I just had a reunion in Brussels, Belgium again about 2-3 weeks ago, and yeah. It's really cool how we all stick together, and us ISBers, as we call ourselves.
I don't
And
think I've ever been to a single one of my reunions. I think those are very forgettable times in my life for many different reasons, but that's great.
I'm sorry to hear that. I had a great time at school. I swear to God, it was awesome.
Yeah, I used to be, and I still am somewhat very socially awkward, and it wasn't very accepted back when I went to school. So you got punished, we'll just say, if you're different. So,
Well, usually
but
I say it's always good to be different. It makes you outstanding or unique. It helps.
yeah, it they didn't care about that. They showed me it wasn't cool back then. But anyways, enough about me. Yeah, I wished I had known you then when you were here in San Diego. It would have been great to see you. But maybe one day you will come back stateside, as they say. And
Who knows? Que sera, sera.
yeah,
That's
that's right. So where did your music interests begin? Because I know that a lot of your catalog is redefining classic songs. I'm not going to use the word cover. I'm not a big fan of the word cover. So, I mean, you've
rendition.
done
That sounds
obviously
classier.
put classy. Oh, that's me, classy. It's all
Yeah.
you've done. Putting on the Ritz. You did Dancing Cheek to Cheek and songs like that, Singing in the Rain. So, where did you get this music interest to want to dive into this field?
Well, it came naturally because my grandfather was a professional musician. He had an orchestra back in Indonesia. And he got me interested as a very young boy. And he suggested that I go to a little operetta school for young kids. I was around 5 or 6. Where we got piano lessons. We would have little performances. And when I went to the International Schools of America as of '64, I was confronted with the American Songbook all the way up to high school and graduation. So my first big musical I did was "You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown" when I was, I think, 13 or 14, and in my high school years, I ended up with the Fantastics playing El Gallo and in Fiddler on the Roof. And of course, I
Oh
was in
wow.
the school choir all the time. And so it came naturally.
Where obviously Putting on the Ritz was your massive smash. Where did you first hear that song? And what made you think, you know what, that's going to be one of my songs I'm going to do right here?
Well, I remember seeing that movie. That's Entertainment. I'm talking about the '70s now, mid early '70s, and there was a small clip in it from Clark Gable singing it from Idiot's Delight. And I said, "Oh my God!" Because Clark Gable, wasn't exactly known to be a singer, but at some point, everybody in Hollywood had to sing a song, and that's actually the only song he ever recorded. And I thought, how neat is that? And yeah, that inspired me.
Well, I wasn't going to get into it a little bit later, but now that we're touching on it, Putting on the Ritz itself, it's I mean, it's been done a few times. Your version, to
Yeah.
me, I mean, you know, I was born in '70, so the '80s to me were my most formative years, and that's where my music and movies, really, that's my favorite decade of music. And so your song there is absolutely one of my favorite songs from the '80s, and it's because it has now I don't know anything about music. It just has different pitches, different, you're just kind of all over the place, and I mean that with all due respect. It's got so many different sounds to it. So how did you formulate that all into your head? Because it's a masterpiece in my mind, because it goes to so many areas, so many levels. Can you try to break it down a little bit on how you came up with it all?
Well, Joe, first of all, there are very few artists who do everything completely on their own. Not everybody is a Lenny Kravitz or a Prince or Michael Jackson. So you have to give credit to a whole team of people. And I was very fortunate to have a very good team around me. That was David Parker, who was an English producer, and David brought on a German uh, singer-songwriter who had massive success back in the 50s, Werner Lang, and myself. So here, and we were three generations. So Werner, was really big in the 50s. David had a lot of success as of the 60s, ever since he came to Hamburg. And I came from the theater, and I had done acting school and a lot of theater productions in Hamburg. And that was a really cool mix because David was very professional and commercial in a pop sense. Werner was a great arranger and had all these intricate arrangement ideas. And a good friend of mine, who was also a musician, he came in to do all the different um, synthesizer sounds, to get all that synthetic brass and all of that. And my part was mainly the theatrics of the whole song, bringing in elements like rap or the famous ending where I came up with the idea to take all the Irving Berlin melodies, just give a shot at come on here, Alexander's right. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. And yeah, that whole combination kind of made it. It was a big experiment, and believe me, when we were finished, we were very hopeful, but nobody was interested. So we shopped it around, and just by chance, RCA picked it up because they bought a lot of other artists from my they call it music company at that time.
Mhm.
And it was just thrown on the market to see if it would do anything. But no song, especially back in the day, would just be an instant hit. You had to work for it. You had to do a lot of promotion, go around, and convince a lot of people. But not in my case. So after about half a year, I gave it up and started a sportswear shop with my father.
Oh,
And
really?
I swear to God, and it wasn't until months later that Sweden had caught on. They called me up and said, "Could you come over to do some promotion?" And I go, "Okay, um, what's the scoop?" "Yeah, your song is doing really well in Sweden." And I go, "Oh my
Oh,
God!" So here I'm in Sweden, and it started a complete rave over there. And at that time, I was flown over, and they brought me to the hotel in a Rolls Royce, and at night at the club, at the disco club, the guys are all in tuxedos, the girls in gorgeous evening gowns, and I'm going, oh my God, these people, they're into my vibe, and but all I had was a single. I just had the A and the B side. I had Living in My Dream World and Putting on the Ritz. So here I was, flip flopping the single, and I did it about 10 times. And when I flew home, they already told me, "Hey, your LP has gold status." And I go, "Well,
damn.
that's wonderful, but I don't have an LP." so, so I flew back to Hamburg, and I said, "Oh my God, we had like no time to get an LP done." So after that, I was in the studio with David and with Werner,
Mhm.
day in, day out, trying to get this LP done. And then it was, just a matter of, okay, which ones are we going to pick? Get all the
Sure.
favorites, Singing the Rain, Cheek to Cheek, and all the classic ones, and the rest we filled up with tunes that Werner had written, and so we elaborated on those also. I wrote lyrics for them because they were just sketches, demo sketches, and then we produced everything in the vibe of the 20s and 30s.
It's a fantastic sound. That's a fun story. Thank you for taking me down that road. That's pretty cool. I didn't know any of that. Um, so where did that lead you from there? Where where did Taco go after? Did you do a lot of the concert venues here? Did you do a tour?
Well, the thing was, I mean, we're talking about the days before MTV. So, as an artist, you had to be everywhere. So, after it took off in Sweden, Scandinavia, I was touring those countries. And then Germany, RCA Germany decided, well, if it's such a big success in Scandinavia, let's re-release it in Germany and try to hit it off from there. And before I knew it, I was doing all these television shows in Germany, and the songs started spreading and got a lot of interest in the rest of Europe. So the first years, I was just on the road doing television shows, radio shows, promotion radio, and TV. So it was all promotion and hardly touring. And every time I'd come back home, I'd be in the studio producing new stuff. And so the touring didn't start until much later. So it was released like, let's say, 82. And so intensive touring started late 83, 84. Because the funny thing was, I had done all of Europe, and it started becoming a big thing in Canada. And that's when RCA America said, oh my God, this kid is a big seller worldwide. We should get on this, get on board. And then RCA really started promoting it in the United States. And from that point on, I was about to take a holiday because I was pooped. I was, in constant jet lag. And then the company said, no holidays for you, boy. You're going to the United States. It's bubbling under in the Billboard charts. And I go, oh my God, I was so nervous. And like I said, I flew over, and we had about a week to get everything sorted out. I had a management that was organized for me. He had organized a band with fantastic musicians. And after a week of rehearsals, my premiere was at a private party where the guest of honor was Mr. Sammy Davis Jr. himself.
Oh, geez.
So can you imagine? My heart was on that. Oh, yeah. Oh my God! What a starter, And before I knew it, people like Ray Bolger was at the party, or Joan Collins, Ursula Andress. It was awesome. And
how did Sammy Davis receive you?
He was so kind. He was and just overflowing. He said, "Oh my God, this is so cool," because he knew that every artist had done that song as of 1929 when it came out. And even Michael Jackson has a rendition of Puttin' on the Ritz. So there's like no artist who hasn't touched it. And he says, and this is so hot. This is the first time it's charting. And so we really had a wonderful talk about that. And
well, I think I think yours stands out the most because, like I said, you have so many layers to your version, so many different sounds to it that it made it incredibly unique. It wasn't just straightforward. Not taking anything away from the other artists, but yours just had so many different sounds to it that made it very unique.
Well, I guess, I got lucky because at that time, there's a lot electronic music. This new wave music was starting off in actually in Europe. It came from England, and we had the Neue Deutsche Welle in Germany with artists like Nena, and so
Oh,
it was this really heavy electronic sound, and that wasn't popular at all in the United States yet. So that's why, for a lot of Americans, it was so unique because that sound was completely new. Because there were like no natural, except the bass, there were no natural sounds on the track. It was all computerized, and even the drum tracks, it was all from the computer and synthes, and
right.
and that had never been done. So that's what got people, yeah, interested in it.
So, so that brings us to current day. So you're still performing. I see you on social media. You're performing in clubs a lot. You mean you're a busy guy.
It,
You
it's okay. It's not jet setting anymore. Nowadays, it's all digital work. It's I sit at my computer a lot, and yeah, it's really good. And I make videos, and I am very fortunate to be able to perform so now and then in clubs because it's a lot of fun. I work with a big band, and with my partner, with whom I write music, Tim Helmers, who produces me also now. With we wrote together "It's Snowing in My Heart" or "Hot Summer Jams" last year, or Bel Ami, and he has a band too, Solaria. And I met him through Facebook actually, uh, and I worked with his band also. And should we have enough followers, we're close to 100,000 now on YouTube. Um, we'll be touring, and so
awesome.
I'm working with all kinds of musicians now. It's kind of like a warming up, so that if people say, okay, we're gonna do a tour with Taco, then we'll get the thing worked out really fast.
And you got to make sure San Diego is on that list.
Definitely.
I just realized I'm wearing my taco shirt. That was a total quinky dink.
Wow, where'd you get that?
Amazon.
Oh, that's so cool. Look at that. Yeah, because I'm
um,
staring into the camera now. I took a quick peek over to the left here. Great.
um, so anyway, you mentioned the song Bel Ami, and that's a new release. Is that correct? I I love this song, and the video is very appealing to the eye. It's a fun video. Tell me about Bel Ami.
Well, I have a new company, Aviator, that's working for me. They pick up all my whole repertoire, even demos. Thank God I didn't throw them away. And they've digitalized everything, all the shows, all the songs, and put it all on a YouTube channel. And the boss of Aviator, a close friend of mine, Alex, he came up with the idea, why don't you do Bel Ami? And in Germany, it's very famous because it's a German song that was written in the 30s. And I said, yeah, what a cool idea. And then he said, and try to do it exactly in the vein of Putting on the Ritz and that whole 80s vibe. So Tim and I sat down, and we worked on the arrangement. I wrote English lyrics for the first time. The song has never been done in English, and that's why nobody knows it
Hmm.
across the border. And actually, it's from an operetta movie, and yeah, and it was so much fun, just going through the whole synthesizer library to try to recreate that 80s sound.
Yeah, it's a great video. I was going to play a clip of it, but I'll get hit by copyright infringement. But there's a little
I think,
snapshot from it.
yeah, I think we can work on that. If you just show a snippet, that's no problem.
Yeah, I'm like I'm with the guy right here. They don't care. They'll hit me. But yeah, it's a fun
Don't
song, and the
worry.
and the videos. What's that?
I said, don't worry about it. And send everybody to YouTube so they can see it.
That's right. Definitely go to Taco's YouTube page. Subscribe there. There's always something fun to watch there.
Yeah.
So going forward, where are you going from here? What's next on Taco's list?
Well, currently I'm in the studio. I'm doing a new rendition of an old song I've already done back in the 80s, but it's too good not to do a complete different rendition of it. So that'll be a big surprise.
Good.
And I'm doing a duet. I'm also working on a duet. It's a beautiful song Maggie Riley did a couple of years ago. I think 2007, no, 13, 2013, and it's disco, but good disco. I,
But good disco.
that's my time, you know. That when I was in the clubs as a teenager and twin, man, it was disco all the way.
Sure.
So that's a lot of fun to try to capture that, you know, feeling of Cool in the Gang and all my
Well, that'll
favorites.
be fun.
It
Promise
is
me you'll come back on the show when that all gets rolling again.
definitely always.
Yeah. I got a lot of people over here on this side who are big fans of yours, and they like your stuff. So I definitely want to have you back on your when you get going on that, please. And
Great. Would be
and
my pleasure.
I can't stress it enough. Please, people go to YouTube and watch this video. Listen to this song. It's really a lot of fun.
It was a hoot. We got some of the best drag queens in Hamburg to help us produce it, and we had such a fun time.
I love your staying power. It means a lot. It just shows your devotion to the craft. And you're fantastic at what you do. So I'm really glad that you're sticking with all this. Um,
Well, I'm very grateful that I'm still being asked and that I have this chance to do this, and I'm forever, grateful to Aviator that they believed in me, and because the pandemic years were terrible,
mm,
we couldn't work over here. There was absolutely nothing to do, and for me, it was yeah, it was retire or die, and so that, that was basically it. Do gardening in my house, and so it's so much fun, to be asked to do stuff again, to be able to perform, to go in the studio and create new music. And, yeah, I'm very grateful for that.
that's great. Well, I definitely look forward to what is to come. Unless you have anything else, Taco, believe we've captured your life here in about 28 minutes. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
Well, all I can say is I'm always happy if I can reach out to fans. I wasn't able to do that, of course, back in the '80s, but now with the social media, I do take my time on Facebook because it's a bit more personal, and I answer people on YouTube, of course, and yeah, and it's great to interact with the fans and to get a direct rapport with them. And
Yeah, you are very engaging on social media, and I appreciate that about you. And it is you doing it. I like that.
well, listen, without the fans and people that call you up like you, Joe, you know, yeah, you might as well, just sit at home and do nothing. It's you guys that make the ball rolling, or
That's
keep it.
right.
And
Well, you're such a fixture in our minds. Such memories have been created by your artistic ways. And every time I hear your songs, it just takes me back, and that's great because I love nostalgia, and your new stuff is equally as pleasing.
well, thanks so much. That means a lot to me.
All right. Well, I believe that is going to conclude our show here. Taco, I really do appreciate having you on here. And please promise me you'll come back when it's time to promote your next secret venture here. And
Promise.
um, and we'll keep in touch and we'll catch you a little bit later. Thank you so much, bud.
Okay, Joe. I thank you for your time, and I send all my love to your fans and everybody who's listening in. And yeah, stay tuned for more to come.
Stay tuned. I like that. All right, bud. We'll catch you a little bit later. Thank you.
My pleasure, Joe.
Bye
Bye.
now. Well, that was sure fun. What a nice guy. I reached out to him several months back, and just a pleasure. Just a super nice guy. And again, such a fabric of my youth. So it was really cool that he came on, and he will be back on. So if you haven't already, go to his YouTube page and subscribe. If you don't mind subscribing to mine. Next week, we have part 2 of the Dave Peters. Booga is his nickname. He is talking all things football, especially the Chargers, the Veterans Report here very shortly, and he'll talk about what is to come for the next NFL season. Having said that, I'm going to shut her down. Thank you once again, and we will catch you next time on the Producer Joe Show.